Well, that's a good question. So, what drew people here originally was the eagles on Eagle Island back in the 1800s and the farming and so forth. And then they put in different water features for farming, that type of thing. And that's what Eagle was. It was a farming community in a rural area way far away from downtown Boise, only connected through the trolley, which is in the picture that you have right here. The trolley went from downtown Boise all the way out to Star. And so there was a connection there. But what drew people here years and years ago, centuries ago or decades ago, was that. And so then it incorporated in 71. They adopted their comp plan in 78. So then you had some developments occurring, smaller subdivisions like Melvin's Eagle Point and Ranch, the Eagle Ranch. That was Bob DeShazo's father. He started the first water company. That's where Ranch is, downtown Eagle, and some of those things started to develop in the mid-70s and so forth. But here's what I think was the first boom or the first boost for Eagle and why you had more of an influx. So around 1989 to 1992, you had 3 developers coming in with big project. One was Lexington Hills. They paid like $600 an acre for that land.
My God, it must have been crazy.
Lexington Hills, and I can name the people who were involved, but I don't need to. But Lexington Hills, Banbury up on Shinden, and Island Woods. We all know those 3, right? So about 89, 90, they start knocking on Eagle's door and saying, we want to develop. Well, Stan Bastian, who spearheaded new ordinances for setbacks, he was on the council at the time. He's like, we need bigger setbacks. They were coming in with like 4 or 5 units per acre. Lexington was ultimately approved at right around 2 units per acre. That means homes per acre.
Yeah.
Sorry, if I use terminology that's not familiar, please
You're good,
interrupt
man.
me.
You're good.
Island Woods was about 2 units per acre. Banbury was 1 unit per acre, but they had to be 1 unit per acre because they were on well and septic. That's up on Shinden. So those 3 came in all of a sudden after hardly anything happening in Eagle for years. So this was, like I said, right around 1990. So they started, what do they call that? Putting out fires. They felt like they were putting out fires. It's like, we got to adopt these ordinances. We need some teeth here so we can be something different. And the terminology that was used back then is we don't want to be like Meridian. That was in 1990. So Steve Gerber, who I will say was and is a Democrat, he, back then it didn't matter. It didn't matter. It's like, who are the people who wanted to do good stuff for the town?
Right.
And he still wants to do good stuff for the town. Anyway, so
I appreciate you, Mark. You're the best. Keep going.
around 1991, 1992, he was the mayor. He was the only mayor who got elected twice. All these other ones, they've only been once. And, what's going to happen this next time?
Yeah, right.
Just December 5th. So we'll see. So anyway, Steve Gerber sees all this happening. He sees a disgruntled council. He sees this development coming in. People are coming in. Mostly people living on rural lots, 2, 5, 10 acre, who wanted to keep rural, chickens and sheep and horses and stuff, right? So they come in and Steve Gerber creates what's called the Horizon Task Force. Okay, so this is a group of people to come and recreate the comp plan. So understand that the comprehensive plan, the long-term philosophy for the planning of our town from 1978 of its adoption until 1993 when they adopted the new plan, which I'll talk about in a minute. Here's what the plan was for all that time.
This is 78 to 93. Okay.
If you're in the downtown, it's CBD, Central Business District. If you're not, it's residential, 5 units per acre.
That was the entire plan.
That was the plan.
Okay.
I mean, there was a bunch of text. It was like 20 pages long. So the Horizon Task Force took that on and said, we want to retain rural. We want to retain our vibrancy of the past. So they developed a comp plan that got adopted in 1993. And I'm going to stop there and then transition it to something else and then allow you to ask more questions.
Don't worry. Don't worry about me. Just go.
So in 1993, they adopt this comprehensive plan, which has Central Business District, which is the central part of your business district. It's pretty much self-explanatory. It has commercial. It has some light industrial. And then they broke down their residential to 5 acre lots, basically 1 unit per 5 acres, 2-acre lots, 1-acre lots, up to 4 unit per acre, and then they had some 16 unit per acre clustered downtown. So let's set that aside. So now you have me, Mark Butler, living in Boulder City, Nevada, outside of Las Vegas, who's been a planner initially with City of Las Vegas. The first plan I worked on when I started planning was a 22,500 acre master plan community, as big as Avamore. Right now, there's probably 160,000 people in that area. It's Sun City, Summerlin. It's the first one I worked on. Avamore is going to have like 9,000. So not to really compare us with Las Vegas, but we are rural, and we're still preserving rural. So here I'm down there, and in 1990, I'm like, I got to get out of here. That Las Vegas crud stuff was coming over to Boulder City. Even Boulder City had a 4% growth moratorium. You're starting to see the philosophy infect is a good word. The school systems, just my philosophy. We had to find a healthy place to live. So we spent 4 years, and then being a land planner, I would contact all these cities and get their comprehensive plans. And I got eagles, and I couldn't believe it. No city preserved 5 acres and 2 acres. There was actually Boulder, Colorado, that had a growth boundary that was somewhat similar. Not Boulder City, Nevada, Boulder, Colorado. Yeah. But Eagles comp plan, crickets in here.
Is that your ringer?
Well, it's only on emergency for my 2 kids.
Do you need to check it?
So I'm down there, and I can't believe it. Here's a city that's preserving rural. So April of 1994, me and my brother-in-law and the guy who's mowing the lawn, friend of mine, we just hopped in the car and drove up to look it over. And that's how I ended up here. So I'm going to stop in 1993 because that's when the first growth spurt was happening here. And then you can ask questions, and we go on to other growth spurts. There were 2 others.